I'm pretty sure you saw this, but I saw this yesterday, and I know it's a day late, but it's still funny to me. So North Carolina goes on national television, standalone game on a Monday, and gets annihilated by TCU, okay? After the scripted drive, they couldn't do anything. I read a story. Have you seen the recruiting situation happening with Belichick?
I have not. I've not followed the recruiting very closely.
So basically, it's told that the recruiting process at North Carolina, off the record for people, has become an absolute nightmare.
Uh-oh.
He had 4- and 5-star kids give North Carolina the time of day. Put North Carolina in a...
Because it's Bill Belichick.
Right. I'll visit your campus. Okay, I'll hear what you're going to say. That doesn't happen a whole lot at UNC, for football at least. And so these kids show up. They wait for an hour in the lobby. And then somebody comes out and goes, actually, you're not going to meet Bill. And then flies the kid out of town. If give you an idea of how this has gone so far at Chapel Bill, that is an example of,
yikes.
God, I wish I would have had that information sooner. I would have hammered TCU minus 3.5.
Yeah.
And it's also what makes this whole situation a bit of a joke to me, is reading stuff like that of, this dude isn't even like caring about 4- or 5-star kids.
No, and to me, it's a problem that I think you're seeing right now in the sport, where there's two coaches that are getting a lot of attention and a lot of headlines and publicity. Deion has been great for college football. The narrative of Bill Belichick going in, it's going to probably end up being a disaster, but it was at least fun to talk about throughout the course of the summer, and it built up the pub for the final game of week 1. I think there's this reality that they learned the hard way of the amount of time and effort and commitment that it takes to truly build a program the right way, and you're not going to be able to just bring in 50 transfers every year and win year in and year out. Mm-hmm. You might have some years where it hits and the right collection of guys come in, but it always has to be, the foundation of your program has to be built through high school recruiting. And if you're not doing it 24/7, 365, you're not going to succeed. I don't care if your name's Bill Belichick. It'll be curious to see how this plays out. I know Deion has nabbed a couple of big guys. North Carolina's recruiting class right now is 17th in the country, but it's largely inflated by volume. They have a total of 36 commitments.
36?
And 27 of them are 3-star kids. So it's a lot of, there's a lot of fluff in the back end of that, where some of those guys might end up being good.
Yeah, we'll see how many 4-stars stay committed to that.
Like, the team behind them in recruiting is Washington, who's 18th. Washington has 21 commits. So they have 15 more commits than Washington does at this point.
That's the USC-Oregon comp, right?
That's exactly it, right? The value or the quality of the player versus the quantity of the player is slightly different. But it's just like, this stuff came out about Deion, too, where he's like, I'm not going to go visit you in your home. You come visit me. And it's like, that might work for some guys because you're Deion and people want to play for you and there's a glitz and glamour factor there. But, dude, a lot of these kids, they want to have that relationship. They want to have those in-home visits. That stuff means go visiting their high school. It means something. And if you're not willing to do it consistently and seriously, year-round, it never stops, you're never going to break through on a consistent basis in this sport.
I like Deion. His press conference yesterday with the timeout thing was like,
what are we doing, dude?
Right here, I would have called timeout there. 3rd and 1 with 20 seconds. Yeah, I would have called timeout. I don't care if it's 1 yard. I want the clock to stop.
You think Marcus Freeman and Notre Dame are flying in 5-star recruits and then being like, oh, just kidding, I'm not going to meet with you. Let's fly you out.
That's just insane.
You think Kirby Smart? You think Ryan Day? You think, like, go down Dan Lanning? Any of the big coaches in the sport? You think any of them are doing that?
No.
Like, of course not. So you're not. Yeah, good luck, man. Good luck. If you got a 70-year-old who doesn't want to do the job because he's too interested in dating his 24-year-old.
They're doing this, dude. It's the only gig he could get.
Good luck, brother. Should have just stayed in media. Hung out with his 24-year-old girlfriend.
You're not wrong. They could have become a McAfee bro.
Yeah, they couldn't make enough money doing that, though.